What is going on here?
It's Halloween.
Halloweens?
For badgers, it's Badgerween.
What is this Badgerweens and this Halloweens you was talking about? Why is there a large Grim Reaper in the front garden that looks like something out of Wicked Makers?
Basically, what it is, Robaire, is it is Halloween, and Halloween is a time of year where, Badgerween is a kind of time of year, like on the same day as Halloween for us, and all the badgers go out and all the monsters give them sweeties.
I think I'd better take it from here and tell you the story of Badgerween. What do you think? Okay, wait a second. All right, gather round, young people, and listen to the story of Badgerween. Almost as soon as the children had arrived back in school... Wait a second. Should this story not start with "It was a dark and cold and stormy night"?
No.
No. This is the story of me and Jiggy Bunny and our Badgerween when we was in the tree. Wait. You does not live in the trees. You lives in a house. But I do in the story. I live in a tree, in a school with the rabbit. This is a very strange story.
I know, but it's fiction, Robaire. It isn't in a real story.
I still think it should start
But Badgerween is real. But the story's made up.
I still think it should be a dark and stormy night. And also I think Mummy should read it and we will just do the voices, okay? Yeah. Alright, fine. Okay. Alright, I'll read the story. With my help. With your help, Bodge. Almost as soon as the children had arrived back in school, a great change overtook the classrooms. Decorations in black and orange crepe paper were put up, and all of the children began painting strange orange ovals with creepy faces on them. Cheeky Bunny watched the proceedings with interest from the tree, wondering what was going on. But Bodge, not me, said he knew exactly what was happening. He got rather excited, and when the children went out to play, he rushed from the tree, gathered up several things, and rushed back in hastily. Once there, he began to fashion a little bag out of orange paper, much to Cheeky Bunny's confusion. "Ning, ning," he asked. "What's this?" Bodge said. "You not know what today is?" We really didn't. "Ning," the rabbit shook his head. "It's Badgerween," Bodge replied, seemingly shocked that the rabbit hadn't known. "I can't believe I forgot." "Ning, ning, ning, ning," the rabbit asked, tilting his head. "Oh, Badgerween is a great holiday. Every year lots of creepy, scary creatures, witches and ghosts and spooky things, they come out into the streets with bags of sweeties and they drop them for the badgers to pick up," Bodge said, fastening a string onto his little pumpkin bag. "Ning, na, ning, ning," Cheeky Bunny said, looking rather confused. "It's true. It happens every year, and this year I'm going Badgerweening." "Ning, na, ning, ning?" the rabbit asked. "I think you should come," Bodge said thoughtfully. "You just need a bag." Bodge held up his little paper bag pumpkin, and Cheeky Bunny looked at it with a tilt of his head. "Ning," he said, and rushed off to grab some supplies before playtime ended. Since Bodge had made a pumpkin, Cheeky Bunny assumed that all Badgerween bags had to be vegetables, and since his favourite vegetable was a carrot, he made his bag accordingly, carrot-shaped. Bodge shook his head when he saw it, but said nothing. The children came back inside and began to chatter about something called trick or treat, but Cheeky Bunny didn't pay much attention to them. He was too busy fixing a little tuft of green wool to the top of his carrot bag. That afternoon, Bodge fell asleep, keen to have a pre-Badgerween nap, but Cheeky Bunny ventured out of the tree and watched the children.
Hang on. Where is I in the stories?
You're not in this one, Robaire.
Wise!
Kitchen nut. You just listen to the story. You go on, Mummy Humans.
Okay, fine. But there should be a book about me's.
Yeah. Okay, but this one about me, so let's go.
And Cheeky Bunny.
That afternoon, Bodge fell asleep, keen to have a pre-Badgerween nap. But Cheeky Bunny ventured out of the tree and watched the children learning. Oddly, they seemed to be learning about Badgerween. They drew pictures of ghosts and read stories about witches and cats that accidentally turned people into mice. The rabbit began to wonder why these children were so keen on a badger holiday. Lunch had been over a while, and the hall was empty. So Cheeky Bunny headed off to the carrot drawer in the kitchen for a snack. He always thought better after a snack. He was just pulling open the drawer when he heard two of the children come into the hall. Cheeky Bunny looked around himself, not sure if he should let the children see him. He decided they probably shouldn't, so jumped into the drawer. He nestled down in the carrots and listened as they were talking. He had no way of knowing that the two little girls that came into the room were talking about a scary story that they were making up for their next class. So when they started talking about a ghost in school, you can understand why Cheeky Bunny got quite a fright. "Oh yes," one girl said, "the ghost only comes out at this time of year. It lives in the broom closet. You can hear it moaning." "Yeah," the other girl agreed, seemingly excited. "It comes out at night and moves things around the school. That's why we can never find all the pencils." The girls giggled, but in the chiller drawer the rabbit was shaking in fear. A real ghost. Here, in school, in the broom closet.
Oh no!
That was going to come out at night. That was going to come out at night. They were here at night. The girls put something in a box at the far side of the room and hurried back to their classroom. Cheeky Bunny climbed out of the drawer shakily. He looked around the hall to make sure no ghosts were around and made a dart for the tree still quivering. To get back to the classroom with the tree, which they had discovered was in year 1, he had to pass the broom closet. Cheeky Bunny eyed the door and began to tiptoe past as quietly as he could. Just as he was passing the door, he heard a low rumbling noise from the closet. With a ning of alarm, he ran full tilt back through the classroom and into the tree. There's a picture. Show the picture. There he is, by the broom closet. Once inside, he darted to his room, jumped in his bed and pulled his blanket over his head, shivering. What the rabbit did not see was the broom closet door open and Mr. Redwood push out the hoover, muttering about spilt glitter. If he had, perhaps he wouldn't have been as convinced there was a real ghost in school.
Oh yeah.
Cheeky Bunny stayed under his blanket until the end of the school day, only peering out every now and then to make sure there were no ghosts around. He was so terrified of the phantom in the broom closet, he didn't even venture out for a late afternoon carrot like usual. In fact, he would probably have remained hidden under his covers all night if Bodge, that's me, hadn't woken up ready for badger-weening. The badger sauntered into Cheeky Bunny's room with his pumpkin bag in his paw ready to leave. He stared at the quivering hump of blankets with a shrug. "It's time to go," he said. In response, a quivering paw appeared from under the blanket and waved in the direction of the broom closet. "Ning, ning, ning," the rabbit said shakily. "A ghost in the cupboard," Bodge said excitedly. He started hopping up and down, his pumpkin bouncing. "Oh, I wonder what it will bring us." "Ning?" Cheeky Bunny asked in confusion. He stared at the badger as if he'd gone mad. "Sweeties, little chocolates." Bodge licked his lips and scooped his bag up in his paws. "Oh, gummy worms!" Bodge grabbed hold of Cheeky Bunny by his poofy tail and dragged him out of the tree and over to the closet. The rabbit resisted for a second, scrabbling at the rug on the floor, but Bodge, seemingly unaware of the rabbit's reluctance, carried on walking until the rabbit found himself outside of the broom closet door. Bodge knocked on the wood. The door was securely closed, and there was no sound at all from behind it. The Badger frowned and tapped his chin with his paw. "Maybe he out dropping of sweeties already," Bodge said with a frown. Cheeky Bunny looked up hopefully. Perhaps the ghost really was out. The thought reassured the rabbit a lot. Bodge shouldered his little bag, and with the quivering rabbit in tow, headed for the vent. As they crossed the hall, Cheeky Bunny stuck close to Bodge, looking all around him to make sure the ghost wasn't going to jump out at him from the shadows. It was dark outside when they climbed through the vent, much darker than Cheeky Bunny had expected. He shivered, but followed the happy badger along the school fence and out to the hole they found in the hedge. Cheeky Bunny found himself standing on a footpath in the little estate of human houses that encircled the school. "There's another picture. This is one of me. Check me out. Hey, there I am with my pumpkin. I like the pumpkin."
It's a very good picture of you, isn't it, Bodge?
Yeah, I think Mummy Human called my likeness quite well. Carry on, Mummy Human. "Oh, this is Badgerween, Badgerween, wee!" Bodge sang as he began wandering along the path, swinging his pumpkin bag. Meanwhile, the still quivering Cheeky Bunny clung to the shadows, not sure if he felt nearly as confident as Bodge. They hadn't walked very far when the rabbit realised there were shapes looming in the dark. Cheeky Bunny put his paws over his eyes and peeked out between them, pressing himself close to the garden fence behind the badger. "Oh, a witch! And a ghost! Oh, a vampire!" Bodge said with glee. In a bold move, the rabbit chanced a quick glance. The witch, ghost and vampire were just ahead of them, knocking on a door. Cheeky Bunny had expected them to be terrifying, but they looked much smaller than he had been expecting. From their place by the hedge, he watched as a man opened the door and put something in the bags they held out. "Ning, ning, ning, ning," Cheeky Bunny asked. "Oh, that's the humans. They have to give the spooky creatures all their treats for the spooky creatures to then give to all the badgers," Bodge explained. "Ning?" Cheeky Bunny asked, unconvinced. He watched as the spooky trio headed down the path and into the lonin by the hedge. Sure enough, as they walked, several sweets fell from the bags they were merrily swinging and landed on the floor. Bodge rushed out and scooped them up into his own little bag,
Oh, yeah.
plopping a couple in Cheeky Bunny's carrot too.
Yes, they were delicious.
The rabbit looked down at a chocolate bar and a small bag of jelly sweets with surprise, and a smile crossed his face. He looked at the three figures who were walking towards the house. They seemed to be laughing and checking out what they had in their bags. For the rest of the night, Cheeky Bunny and Bodge wandered around the little estate collecting sweets and candies. They saw a lot of spooky-looking creatures, zombies, cats, wizards, even an alien. Cheeky Bunny began to realise, though, that all of these creatures were unusually small, many of them the same size as the children from school. One zombie was even wearing a school uniform. Whether Cheeky Bunny realised the truth about Badgerween or not, he never let on to Bodge. It wouldn't have been nice to spoil the holiday for the badger. Besides, as they made their way back to school, they had quite a haul of sweets. They snuck back through the vent into school with Cheeky Bunny feeling pretty cheerful, until he saw the broom closet. Now, unbeknownst to the rabbit, the janitor had left his broom leaning a little precariously against the wall, and just as they walked by, it unfortunately happened to fall over.
That got the rabbit terrified.
The effect of this on the badger was minimal. He was eating a blue and yellow gummy worm with great pleasure and barely noticed the clatter. The rabbit, on the other hand, was sent into a flight of terror. Cheeky Bunny let out a long, protracted "Ning!" and made a mad dash to the tree, clutching his carrot bag as he ran. Bodge looked after him in confusion. Surely, if there was a ghost in the broom cupboard, that would only mean more candy. At least that's what he thought. So for some time the badger sat outside the cupboard hopefully, dipping his paw into his sweetie bag occasionally. No sweetie-giving ghost appeared though, and eventually, as the sun began to rise, he headed sleepily back to the tree. Cheeky Bunny was still under a square of felt, quivering when Bodge came home. But given that it was now daylight, and the Badgerween was officially over, he was persuaded to come out and at least look at their haul. The sight of all the candy seemed to overcome Cheeky Bunny's fear, and soon they were both stuffing sweets into their mouths.
It was delicious.
When the children came in later, they found a set of chocolatey paw prints all over their classroom. They were convinced ghost critters had been scampering around. If they had looked closely, however, they would have seen that the prints led to the tree in the reading corner, and if they looked very, very carefully, they might have spied a small chocolate-covered paw attached to an equally chocolate-covered rabbit asleep in it.
Yes, when's are you going to write another book? And when is I's going to come into it?
As soon as I have time, Robaire. But until then, how about we publish this story online so that some of the little children can hear it for Badgerween?
Okay.
Do you want to go Badgerweening, Robaire?
Sure, but I think I'm going to go.
And Halloween's just tomorrow.
Oh yes, Badgerween is tomorrow.